Welcome you all again in the lecture of IC engine fuel and lubricants. In the continuation of the previous lecture, which was based upon the fuels. So, in the previous lecture we have discussed the solid fuels, how the combustion occurs and the combustion concept. We have done some exercises on that. So, in this lecture we will going to cover these topics: analysis, calorific value, gross and net calorific values, determination of calorific value of solid fuel and other fuels also, comparative study of solid, liquid and gaseous fuels, origin of crude oil, composition of crude petroleum, classification of crude petrol, chemical structure of petroleum, and we will do some numerical problems. So, liquid fuel we have discussed in the last slide. It is that fuel which is having phase in a liquid form. So, how it is differ from the solid. So, it is differ from the solid in various aspects, it is in liquid phase, and that one is for solid phase. It is having higher calorific value, liquid fuels are having higher calorific value as compared to the solid one, and they burn more cleaner than solid fuels, and they are easy to transport also. They are having light, the light you can transport through the pipes also from one place to another fuel. So, transportation may be somewhere easier as compared to the solid fuels. So, it is having its own characteristics like density, specific gravity. You all know that what is density, what is specific gravity, viscosity. It is the measure of internal friction during the flow. So, viscosity criteria which is not found in the solid fuels. So, viscosity, flash point, because you know that we flash point, when you store a liquid somewhere in a space in a container, there is continuous evaporation of that fuel, and if there is continuous evaporation, then liquid hydrocarbons will be in the gaseous form of hydrocarbons, and when they come in the contact of air and get some combustible condition at lowest temperature for initiation of the initiation of the combustion, there will be some flash will be observed. You can do the flash point test in a flash point apparatus. So, the flash point of a fuel is the lowest temperature at which the fuel can be heated, so that the vapor gives off flashes momentarily when an open flame is passed over it. The flash point for furnace oil is 66 degree Celsius. This is furnace point of oil. Then pour point. What is the pour point? Pour means easy to pour, that pourability of the, it is a measure of pourability of the fuel, because liquid fuels passes from one point to another point, and you have to pour from one space one container to the another container. So, the pour point of a fuel is the lowest temperature at which it will pour or flow when cooled under prescribed condition. It is very rough indication of the lowest temperature at which fuel oil is ready to pumped. So, it is the criteria for suppose you are using the oil at a place where it get freezed. So, there will be very going to be a very problem for pumping it. So, it is the criteria for pumping of the liquid fuel. Now, the another criteria is specific heat. You all know that what is the specific heat is the amount of calories needed to raise the temperature of 1 kg of oil by 1 degree Celsius. The units of specific heat is kilocalorie per kilogram degree Celsius. It varies from 0.22 to 0.28 depending on the oil specific gravity. The specific heat determines how much steam or electric energy it takes to heat the oil to a desired temperature. Light oils have a low specific heat, whereas heavier oils have a higher specific heat. So, the very important criteria is the calorific value. So, calorific value, you all know that it is the energy density of the fuel. So, then the calorific value is the measurement of heat or energy produced. Hat is measured either as gross calorific value or net calorific value. The difference is determined by the latent heat of condensation of the water vapor produced during the combustion process. So, the gross calorific value and net calorific value both are different, and what is their difference in next slide we will discuss it. We will do some numerical problem on that also. So, it is the amount of difference is equal to the water vapor produced during the combustion process, because you know that combustion you combust something, water vapor will be formed, and these water vapor are formed at very high temperature, and if you condense it, and these water vapor at very high temperature goes into the surrounding, and this carry away with it a huge amount of energy. So, when we able to condense it to a standard condition like in room up to the room temperature, that amount of energy can be saved. So, it is the if you add this amount of energy, it will be gross calorific value. So, net calorific value assumes the water leaves with combustion products without fully being condensed. So, fuels should be compared based on the net calorific value. The calorific value of coal varies considerably depending on the ash moisture content and the type of coal, while calorific value of fuel oils is much more consistent. So, you can see from the table the calorific value comparison for different types of fuel. You can see the hydrogen, nowadays we are using hydrogen as a fuel in SI engine. So, you can see it is having its calorific value more than 120 to 142. Methane, it is a hydrocarbon. So, it is having 50 to 55 megajoule per kg, it is the unit of the calorific value. Methanol is having 22.7 megajoule per kg, and dimethyl ether is having 29 megajoule per kg. So, these are some calorific values of the different fuels. These are the alternative fuels, not the conventional ones. So, you can see from here, and the petrol and diesel, the calorific value you can see from here. From petrol, or you can say gasoline, it is 44 to 46 megajoule per kg, diesel is having 42 to 46, crude oil is having lower calorific value, LPG, natural gas, and some different forms of coals, and firewoods, these are having its calorific value. Somewhere solid fuels are having lesser calorific value as compared to the liquid fuels. Now, the analysis of calorific value, gross and net calorific. So, gross calorific value we have discussed in the last slide. The gross calorific value of a solid biomass fuel is usually determined experimentally by a bomb calorimeter. So, the bomb calorimeter is a apparatus. With the help of that, you can evaluate the calorific value of solid as well as liquid. So, gross calorific value of solid biomass is of fuel is usually determined experimentally by a bomb calorimeter. The net calorific value of the fuel is usually calculated from the gross calorific value and the ultimate analysis of the fuel, which have discussed in the last slide. So, ultimate analysis needed, in which we study the different percentage of carbon, hydrogen in the fuel. So, with the help of that, net calorific value can be evaluated. So, the lowest calorific value, lower calorific gross calorific value is also known as higher heating value. Somewhere you can you see in the book it is written as HHV, higher heating value, or gross calorific value, and the net calorific value will be written in as a lower heating value, LHV, or lower calorific value also. So, lower calorific value, lower heating value, both these are energy density, these are all same terms. So, you can see that lower calorific value is equal to gross calorific value minus heat of vaporization of water vapor, and always greater, you can see from this formula, gross calorific value is always higher than the net calorific value by an amount equal to the latent heat of condensation of the water formed. So, calorific value of gaseous fuel can be calculated from the heat of formation values. You can see from here that for a hydrocarbon carbon fuel containing carbon, hydrogen and carbon, hydrogen, sulfur products of complete combustion are CO2, H2O, SO2 and reference states of POC is product of POC means product of combustion. So, the reference states of 25 degrees Celsius, let these are these are the products from CO, SO2 and H2, these are in fact CO2 and this is SO2 and this is H2O, sorry, this is H2O, this is CO2. So, at 25 degrees Celsius these are the reference products from, and if we are able to condense up to 25 degrees Celsius and the amount of energy when you measure it will declare the gross calorific value, and at 100 degrees Celsius it is net calorific value. So, the determination of calorific value of solid fuel we have discussed this is a empirical formula, theoretical calculation of calorific value. The higher calorific value of fuel is the sum of calorific value of all constituents. So, you can see from here that constituents they are giving in the problem, the higher calorific value in kilocalorie per kg. Hydrogen is having 34,500 kilojoule per kg, carbon, sulfur, these are given. From the Dulong's formula for the calorific value from the chemical composition, this is an empirical relation and it is derived by Dulong. So, HCV it is for solid, reminded this formula is for solid. So, higher calorific value is equal to 1 upon 100 and you will put the value of composition of carbon present after from the ultimate and proximate analysis you will able to find the carbon percentage, hydrogen, oxygen and you putting the values on that. So, these are the calorific value, this is percentage of carbon present in the fuel, this is the calorific value of hydrogen, this is the composition of different component and this is the composition of sulfur, and 2240 is the its calorific value. From here you can see that. So, where C, H, O and S are the percentage of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen and sulfur in the fuel respectively. In this formula oxygen is assumed to be a present in the combination with hydrogen as water. So, you can see from here it is another problem H2, suppose you are combusting hydrogen. So, H2 plus half O2 is equal to H2, very simple problem, it is 2 gram its molecular weight, 16 gram into 18 gram means so 1 gram proportion, mass proportion will react with 8 gram of oxygen and it will give you 9 portion of H2O. So, lower calorific value is equal to higher calorific value minus 0.09 H, because this is the fraction 9%. So, 0.09 H, 9 times of H. So, 0.09 H into 587 its sorry it is a latent heat, it is the latent heat. From steam table you can see that it is 587, the reason is written here also. So, the calorific value can be determined experimentally from the theoretical considerations. In laboratory bomb calorimeter is used where 1 gram of coal is combusted at constant volume and rise temperature is noted. Theoretically, calorific value of coal can be determined from the heat of formation of products complete combustion at 298 Kelvin and 1 atmospheric pressure. These are the operating experimental conditions, standard conditions. In terms of percentage of elements, you can see from this formula gross calorific value is equal to 81 percentage of carbon, 341 percentage of, these are in kilocalorie per kg, these are 341, these are we have discussed, these are all the values in kilocalorie, calorific value of hydrogen and carbon and sulfur. And equation 10 in equation 10 you can see here these are the values for the kilojoule per kg, and this is the formula for net calorific value of heat of vaporization. So, net heat of vaporization you can see in problem, you can easily understand these things, we will discuss in the problem. So, determination of the calorific value of solid fuel from equation 12, this is the standard formula. By equating equation 9 to 12, these are Dulong's formula. So, net calorific value is equal to gross calorific value minus 24.44 into 9 percentage of hydrogen present in the fuel plus percentage moisture present also. So, moisture is also matter, that is why I have already told you that it is evaluated, net calorific value is evaluated by the ultimate and proximate analysis of the fuel. So, assumptions for deriving these equations are: the heat of formation of coal is 0, coal contains hydrogen and oxygen, therefore, available hydrogen for combustion with gaseous oxygen is equal to percentage of hydrogen minus percentage of O by 8, and calorific value of coal is sum of calorific value of heat of formation of complete combustion products and heat of vaporization of water at 100 degree Celsius equal to 542 kilocalorie per kg. So, these are the assumptions for deriving these equations. Now, numerical problem. So, a problem is there, calculate the gross and net calorific value of coal sample having the following composition: carbon 80%, hydrogen 7%, oxygen 3%, sulfur 3.5%, nitrogen 2.1% and ash 4%. So, you will apply the formula, we have discussed this formula. So, a higher calorific value is equal to 1 upon 100 8080 C plus these all things, and putting the percentage of carbon, and so you are able to find that it is a higher calorific value or gross calorific value. Similarly, lower calorific value, you all know that it is higher calorific value minus 0.09 H into 587, 587 is latent heat. So, H percentage is given to you 7%. So, putting this 7, so lower calorific value is evaluated. Now, the comparative study of solid, liquid and gaseous fuel, it is very brief idea. So, solid, you all know that wood, peat, lignite, bituminous, anthracite, coal, these are the solid fuels. Natural and primary form, it is found as wood, peat, lignite, bituminous, anthracite, coal. As we are moving from wood to anthracite, its ranking or quality is improving. And the secondary form is charcoal and coke, because coke is derived from the coal. So, coke and coal, coal is the primary form of the solid fuel and coke is the secondary form. Similarly, liquid, if you talk about petroleum, it is the primary source. Then secondary sources, secondary fuels are oils, coal tar, alcohols, etc. And now we talk about gases. So, natural gas is the primary or natural source. Then from natural gases, you can evaluate that producer gas, water gas, blast furnace gases and coke oven gases. These are secondary fuels. Comparative study of solid, liquid and gaseous fuel. So, the comparative study of solid and liquid gaseous fuel, you should have its desirable properties for good IC, because the subject is dedicated to IC engine. So, we will focus on the quality of the fuels from the point of view of IC engine. So, a good SI or SCI engine, internal combustion engine, should have these properties which are required. It have high energy density. So, you can have maximum thermal efficiency and maximum power you can achieve from that. It should be easy to handle, storage, possess good combustion qualities, thermal stability. We have discussed all this in the first slide. It should have low deposit forming tendency, easy to handle, free from fire hazard, should have chemical reaction with engine components through which it is flow. It should not have chemical reactions. It should not, it is chemically it should be unstable for the maximum components from the engine. For example, if there is sulfur, the sulfur reacts with the components of the fuel lines, or where the from where the spaces where the fuel is fast, and the result is that it get corroded and the life of the engine is very much goes down. So, it should easily mix with the evaporant quickly as possible. Products of combustion should not be corrosive. It must be possess low toxicity, effect of air pollution should be low, it should be economically also, at the same time it should be economical. The types of fuels, we have discussed all these types of fuels for SI engine. Now we are discussing from the point of view of SI engine. So the SI engine or CI engine can use gaseous as well as liquid as well as not solid fuel, as gaseous as well as liquid fuel. So if we talk about gaseous fuel, so natural gas is one of them for SI engines. What is natural gas? It is having about 95% of methane, and other components are C2H6 and nitrogen. So it is found from the natural resources, that is why it is called natural gas, and easy to transport from one place to another place. And manufactured gases also there, like water gases, producer gases we can use in SI engine, but they are having very low calorific value, very bad combustion qualities. That's why we are not able to use that nowadays conventionally. So the other types of gases are also there, like biogas for diesel engine. We can use biogas for diesel engine also. So advantages and disadvantages of gaseous fuels are there. It's have its own advantage and disadvantages. So it can easily carried through pipes. It can easily compressed and stored. The starting of engine easy, which is because what is happening during combustion, the fuel and air have to be mixed. So if we talk about the case of liquid fuels, it first will be evaporated, then get mixed. But the positive point with the gaseous fuel is that it is already in the gaseous phase. So immediately it will mix with the air for the start of the combustion. So this is the very much great advantage of the gaseous fuel. And to maintain a uniform air fuel ratio in multi cylinder engine, it is easily possible compared with the liquid fuels. Some disadvantages are also there. Storage volume per unit energy is very large compared with the oil. Cost of gas is high on the basis of energy content. The size and weight of the engine is considerably large compared with the engine using liquid fuel. The purifying cost of gaseous fuel is considerably large. The capital and running costs for the plants used for manufacturing gases is considerably high. So these are the some disadvantages, but nowadays we are using in the market, there are vehicles we are using the gaseous fuels either in the dual mode or that dedicated mode also. So now nowadays market is using this type, auto sector is using gaseous fuels also, because the running cost using liquid gaseous fuel is lower as compared to the liquid gases. And also the emissions, one of the major problem in our atmosphere because of the engine exhaust outs. So it is also very useful to curb those emissions. Now the liquid fuels are mainly classified in two groups. Liquid fuels which are vaporized easily are petrol and alcohol, and are commonly used in SI engines. So they are classified as paraffins, olefins, naphthens and aromatics. This is the chemistry behind this. You all know that what is paraffin, simple chain, normal chain or straight chain components called paraffins. So normal chain molecular structure as shown in the figure, you can see like methane, propane, heptane, etc. So they are maybe in the normal chain or maybe iso chain. So isoparaffins are also stable compounds as and are having high knock resistance, means if you use iso butane and normal butane. So normal butane is having its lower knock resistance, iso-octane is having higher resistance. Olefins are having unsaturated type, having double bonds. So they are also the, because the liquid fuels having the combination of these all normals and olefins, and the naphthenes ring type of structure. They are aromatics also, benzene types of structure in there. So they are also used. They are found in the liquid. So, special properties of aromatics are listed. The aromatics offer highest resistance to knocking in SI engine. The suitability of these fuels for CI engine is just reverse of their stability. So, these are the some liquid fuels origin, from where it is derived. From the crude oil it is derived, and these are the petroleum fractions characteristic due to their molecular structure, how it is. The normal paraffins exhibit the poorest anti-knock quality when used in SI engine. The aromatics offer the best resistance to knocking in SI engines. For CI engines, order reverse. Normal paraffins are the best fuels and the aromatics are the least desirable. So, in CI engine fuels, aromatics are least desirable. These are the chemical formula for paraffins, olefins, naphthenes, aromatics, their molecular structure, their stability, and these are I have already discussed it. This is a numerical problem similar to that we have already discussed. This is the component is given, it is oxidized, we balance it, then we will evaluate from the molar analysis the percentage of carbon dioxide plus O2 plus N2. This is able to find from this by molecular balance, and we find that A is equal to 13.9. Now, the ratio of volume of fuel of air to be supplied is equal to volume of fuel upon volume of air. So, volume of fuel is taken as 1 and volume of air it is 13.9. We have evaluated the requirement of the volume of air. We have evaluated from here 13.9 into 100 by 21 is the fraction of, because in 21 is the fraction of oxygen percentage by volume. So, 1 by 66. If the, because in the problem it is said that mixture is chemically correct, the oxygen is products of combustion is 0. So, this component, this balance means Z is 0. Chemically correct means there will be no oxygen in the exhaust. So, A minus 12.5 is equal to 0. So, A comes out 12.5. If we put this value 12.5 and 100 by 21, so it is the answer for this. Another problem is for fuel supply to a petrol engine. Assume to have the composition, the stoichiometric air fuel ratio by mass, percentage volumetric efficiency products of combustion, 50% excess air. We have discussed this in the previous lecture, that you can write the equation similarly like this, and we will balance this equation, the molar balance from both sides of combustion, and if after balancing you are able to find the value of A, B, C, D, and with the help of that the stoichiometric air composition can be evaluated. The value A, we are found that it is A is equal to 11, and that stoichiometric air can be evaluated by the definition from the number of moles, mass of upon molecular weight. We have discussed all these things in the previous lecture, and this is the composition moles of forms. So, let 7 moles of CO2 formed in the problem, B is equal to 7. From here you can see that B is equal to 7. So, 7 moles of CO2 is formed, and we will put all these molar forms in the exhaust. And now, this is the volume fraction analysis. Similarly, as we have done in the last lecture, how it is done? We add 7 upon, we will add all the percentage volume, 7 plus 5.5 plus 62.1 plus 8. So, it comes out 82.6. So, if you divide 7 by 82.6, it comes out. So, this is the some numerical problem. You better you do some exercise on that also, and in this lecture we have discussed the calorific value, how it is evaluated, air fuel ratio, how it is evaluated. So, thank you so much for your nice listening.